just in general as a global market, I mean, obviously India in terms of G20 countries is one of the fastest growing markets. I mean, clearly there's been a little bit of downturn in the last year or so, but in general respect, obviously India is going to be one of the most significant economies in the next 15, 20 years. That's why Fujitsu is particularly interested in it. And, on many facets, particularly given the very strong alliance between Japan and India, as a market for Japanese companies, I think it's an increasingly interesting market. And I think obviously the reforms and transformations that are happening in commerce in India makes it an even more attractive, and why Fujitsu is here. Well, I think first of all, I think we have to admire the fact that the Indian government, particularly in the last 3 or 4 years, has really come on with some very clear strategies and initiatives around Digital India. I think all facets of that are, not only is it in terms of ambition and things, but they're taking practical, real steps in order to make the country much more digital. And in that regard, obviously Fujitsu has a very wide portfolio of innovations and technology in the digital space. And that's why we see it as a great opportunity for ourselves. Yeah, I mean, so the National Supercomputer Mission is one of the things that we're very heavily involved in. I mean, Fujitsu has over 180 HPC customers in India. I mean, maybe Mehul, you want to jump in at this point?
So, from the digitalization perspective, we are associated as of right now with majority of city surveillances and smart city projects as of right now. We are not the front bidder as such, because there's a lot of system integration, which I'm sure you understand where I'm coming in from. But there are a couple of cities where we already have a city surveillance present from Fujitsu. From surveillance projects perspective, you could talk about some 43 airports in the country are running on surveillance of Fujitsu, which are end-to-end given a solution from Fujitsu, and more than 500 railway stations runs on surveillance of Fujitsu. So be it your Western Railways, be it your South Central Railways, be it your Eastern Railways, be it multiple cluster of railways. We have an end-to-end working with system integrators over here, be it Nelco, be it Honeywell, be it a couple of them, who works as an overall system integrator, and we form a very large and a concrete part of the solution as a Fujitsu over here. So these are few examples, Aparna, which I can talk about. I can keep on going like that.
So probably the biggest part of our portfolio that we're launching is basically around our hybrid IT portfolio. So Fujitsu has a global cloud platform, which is called K5, which is a public cloud offering. But the public cloud offering is based on a suite of technology which we call MetaArc. MetaArc is really a whole stack of innovations, both open source, OpenStack, VMware, bare metal, and basically all of the infrastructure and orchestration that go with it. But not only that, we're building in a number of different PaaS and SaaS offerings as part of that portfolio. And that's been rolled out globally. So MetaArc is really one of the main delivery mechanisms that we see to take customers into a digital age. It really gives them the speed, flexibility, and it's been viewed extremely positively by Gartner Magic Quadrants in terms of we are one of the most forward-thinking leaders in these quadrants, and it's something that Fujitsu is really investing very heavily to bring to market.
Launch of multiple products, which is not again a me-too type of strategy. There would be OEMs who would have solutions like this, but not probably similar, but like not as sharp as what we're talking about over here. We're talking about specific solutions on deep learning, on machine learning, on artificial intelligence. Apart from making our portfolio more stronger on hyperconverged, which we have as of right now, we're talking about making offerings with VMware, with Microsoft, with series of the ISV partners over here, and open source, which is also extremely important because the trends, the industries are also talking about more and more open source appliances. So You talk about appliances from a hyper-converged perspective or from a converged portfolio, or you talk about the third or the fourth digital wave with the industry is going in through. These are all available, and we work with partners over here. This demand is, as of right now, it's on a test bed right now. Okay, the customers, majority of the large corporates, Aparna, are talking about doing a POC in their houses. It's not a large deployment as such, but like yes, we could see tenders, we could see large requirements, could be €1 million, and so on and so forth, which could come or are coming in from a hyper-converged type of a platform over here. The portfolio is widening. Okay, as we speak, I have more than 6 appliances to go and offer a customer along with a partner over here. It could be an appliance on a backup, it could be an appliance on a converged or on a hyper-converged. On the platforms which a customer could be asking for an VMware solutions or a Microsoft solutions or on an open source solutions, depending upon what flavor of solution customer is looking upon, we could very well offer to the customer at his doorstep.
Foremost, Fujitsu traditionally was positioned maybe 3 or 4 years back as purely as a technology provider in the Indian market. We were not delivering our major services portfolio in India. 3 years back, basically as part of corporate strategy, we essentially have targeted certain markets to be so-called full portfolio countries. What that means is essentially anything that Fujitsu has as a global offering, we intend to sell within the country. So India is one of those full portfolio countries, and essentially my mission in India was to bring the best of those services and capabilities to India. Good thing is that in those 3 years, we've more than grown 50% year on year in delivery of those services. So I mean, the market is responding very well to how we're doing it. Of course, we're not yet delivering all of the services, but the reality is that they're all open. We just need to focus in terms of building the pipeline, using our global delivery center capabilities in India, and building up the customer base. And that's the journey that we're on. So, I mean, obviously Japan is the obvious one. EMEA in general, so everything that we're doing in Europe, Middle East, in India, essentially has full portfolio coverage. So essentially anything which Fujitsu Japan is delivering, or we're delivering in the UK or Germany, is on offer in India. In terms of the pace at which we deliver that, obviously it looks at the individual opportunities, the market opportunities, and we bring that delivery capability. So I mean, there's 4 key areas that we look at this point in time. We have basically business application services. So that typically involves us bringing innovations and solutions in partnership with companies like SAP, with Oracle, with Microsoft, with ServiceNow. We have a managed infrastructure services portfolio, which includes all of the cloud offerings, so as I just mentioned about hybrid IT and MetaArch, but also in terms of digital innovations around IoT and IoT delivery. And then we have a separate stream which we just created around cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is one of the big portfolio aspects that Fujitsu is delivering. And then of course we have our technology portfolio. So for example, Fujitsu has global security operations centers. We deliver all of the kind of boundary protection. Obviously we have a bunch of technology partners in the security space, but we deliver everything from consultancy to security operations center delivery services. So it's an area of our portfolio which we are pushing very hard, and we've actually created a global business unit to address that. So I think first of all is the whole digital transformation space is happening very quickly. So it's an age of software, right? So the reality is that with open APIs, with the availability of data, with hyper-connected infrastructure, you're now seeing the fact that people are starting to exploit those trends in terms of how they transform their businesses. So I think that digital transformation is something that is challenging every company, and the key thing that Fujitsu is bringing is we have a methodology and approach towards engaging customers in what we call digital co-creation. And essentially, it's using the technology assets of Fujitsu and its partners to listen to customers, to go on a journey with those customers, and to try and understand what business challenges they're facing, either competitively, or trying to grow their top line, or to defend their core business. And then how we bring those digital innovations to address those issues. That's kind of the trends that we're seeing, and that's how we're actually positioning our go-to-market. So, I mean, Fujitsu has a number of solutions which we have done in that. If you talk in the IoT space, for example, I mean, whether it's with SAP or with Oracle, Fujitsu has its own middleware and cloud platforms for IoT delivery. Fujitsu acquired a company about 3 or 4 years back called GlobeRanger. GlobeRanger has delivered major IoT platforms to very large institutions, to defense, to basically to security or national security. And basically we're using those technologies to then address basically industries. So like in the airline industry, airline manufacturing industry, big supply chain opportunities. So those add to, whether that's integrating with SAP, whether it's integrating with Oracle, those solutions are enhancing the core offerings of those companies.
The partners which have been there for the last few decades, these partners are pretty advanced as of right now. They have past the age of selling in solo servers or a solo storage, or of course things like that. They are also talking about putting up a solution piece and giving it to the customer. The skill sets which we see recently with the partners are, they want to have skill sets on SAP HANA, they want to have skill sets on high performance computing, they want to have skill sets on big data and deployment of private clouds with the help of Microsoft or with the help of VMware. The partners are far advanced as of right now as we speak in this country. And the new partners who are coming up in the country are coming in from a very fresh breed, and they are again not going into a silo type of a business outlook. They are also talking about coming with a niche, wherein they're talking about picking up an application, picking up a vertical and going deep dive into that rather than spray and pray and putting up everything together over here. So these are typical trends of partners which we see in the current scenario. It's a joint effort. I understand what you're talking about, Aparna. It's a joint effort because they see Fujitsu working at a customer place. They see Fujitsu in various forums. We do almost 2 or 3 events a month. There's a pace at which we do events with the customers, with the partners. Partners know that what we can deliver and what we're talking about over here, and partners respect the fact that yes, in case if it's a solution and in a latest trend of solution, then Fujitsu could step up and help them to get into the solution space which is being there. So whatever business we do, majorly we do with the partners over here, and when they see working on a customer place or when they see working on the partner forum, they come to us and they say, oh, this is something which we want to learn, this is what we want to something explore, and the journey starts over there. We do have competency, we do have trainings on a regular basis. Once in a quarter we do partner trainings for the sales and for the pre-sales. As we speak, we had a pre-sales training just 15 days back in 3 different locations of this country, and this was predominantly from pre-sales because again, we do not believe much in sales training, but what's important for us is to getting this new technology to this industry, and unless the technology has been evangelized, somebody needs to evangelize this technology, to understand and explain this technology, and then Fujitsu comes over along with a partner to go more deeper into those discussions and take this business further.
Significantly and growing. So in the last 3 years, we have basically added 150 direct sales people to the company. Fujitsu basically, 2 years back we had about 3,000 people in global delivery in India. We now have 5,000. So Fujitsu is investing very significantly in ramping the competencies and capability for India to deliver not only for India but also globally. Essentially, Fujitsu only reports in consolidated numbers, right? So we don't report on the individual countries. I mean, obviously we have to statutorily report that, but in essence we're growing very fast. So our revenues have more than doubled in the last 3 years. I mean, the reality is Fujitsu's market share is pretty insignificant in India so far. I mean, you know, the reality, that's why it's such an attractive market for us. We know we have plenty of headroom to grow. You know, where we may be number one in terms of delivering products and services in Japan, like in India, we're a very distant player, right? And the reality is that that's why it's so attractive for us to grow quickly. In terms of, as I said, we're investing very heavily in our global delivery center capability in India. Also, we're increasing our sales force, we're increasing our competencies in India, and step by step. Obviously, you can't, you know, explode in terms of growth because that creates its own problems. But the reality is, on an organic growth basis, we're growing very fast. We're one of the fastest growing countries in Fujitsu's portfolio.
Aparna, we want to grow, but not at the pace where we can't keep the customer happy. Okay. Point number one. Our growth is also related to where we want to grow. Okay. So it's again not a Me Too type of strategy in which, you know, although I have a portfolio, extremely strong portfolio, which anybody else could speak about or could think about it, I could deliver it. But again, our goal is not to have a brick and a mortar type of a discussion. No. Usually, when we talk to customers, we talk only solutions. When we talk to the solutions, as Andy mentioned, we talk high performance computing. We speak big data. We speak analytics. We speak SAP HANA. We speak surveillances. We speak hyperconversion. These are the languages which, or we talk VDIs. These are the languages which my sales people speak. Okay, they do need the purchase teams of the customers, but like that is the last. The first thing which we approach is the technology people, the users understand the problem points which they have over there, and try to put in a solution over here. Partners who wants to work with Fujitsu needs to be very, very specific. It's not about going and you know painting the city red as you know few of the competitors could be doing it, but it's getting into specific technologies. In case if they are interested in going deep on the technologies, having a deep relationship with the customers, because these are mission critical applications most of the time. Customers has to rely upon that 5 times 9 type of an availability, extremely high RAS and so on and so forth. So that's where Fujitsu is. So you will never see Fujitsu anywhere talking about, oh, I did some X% market share, I did Y% market share. That's not the Fujitsu strategy at all. So it's more about giving technology and the right technology to the customer along with the partner. That's where Fujitsu will fill in from here.
But we have huge ambition for India. Fujitsu is a global corporation. I mean, anybody looking at the long-term economic forecasts for India, obviously it's a hugely significant and important market. But also, from a geopolitical position, is that India and Japan are growing alliances all the time. I mean, obviously, Prime Minister Modi's recent visit to India. Recent visit to Japan and Abe's recent visit to India. I mean, both just cemented even closer relationships, strategic alliances at multiple levels. That's all good for Japanese business. Fujitsu is a big Japanese corporation. We see it as a very important part of our market.
Presence in it, we are already there in 8 cities in the country, as of right now as we speak. We're getting more and more rural again, and that's the place where we're looking upon over here. But again, this would be the technology path, not a typical break fix type of products which we're talking about over here. And what we are engaging more is bringing up new and new technologies every year. So this is the year we're talking about getting up into big data, getting up into artificial intelligence. Probably the next year we're talking about machine learning, deep learning, and so on and so forth. So as and when we are getting ready before the industry asks for it. Okay. So in case if partner wants to work on the technology side of the businesses, partners come to Fujitsu to learn HPC. We've been doing it for the last many years. Partners comes to Fujitsu to do business and bids together on SAP Infra. We've been doing for years. We have been number one on multi-node HANA. We have been number one on highly scalable HANA. We have been number one for multiple things on our SAP, as well as on SAP Infra Solutions, as well as HPC. Now it's a time which we bring in the same level of dedications on big data, and then artificial intelligence, and then machine learning, and then it's a process of of learning and getting in more and more and more. Loads of things for the partners to come and engage with us. Apart from our regular portfolio of businesses, which they can definitely go and position and evangelize in this market. But in case if they're talking about putting up a specialization within their organizations, multiple things to choose. It's upon their verticals, their regions, their geographies. Like somebody who's working on east, looking upon mining as a sector,